welcome to the Riverhead Central School District Regular Board of Education meeting for March 4th, 2025. Can I get a roll call? Ms. Healy? Present. Mr. Wallace? Present. Ms. Murphy? Present. Ms. Freeborn? Present. And Ms. Redmond? Present. Thank you. Can I get a motion to go into executive session to discuss the employment of a particular person or corporation? Motion. Thank you, Ms. Freeborn. Second. Thank you, Ms. Murphy. All in favor? And motion passes, and we will be back at 7 p.m. Thank you. Good evening, welcome back to the Riverhead Central School District Regular Board of Education meeting for Tuesday, March 4th, 2025. Can I get a motion to return to open session? Thank you, Mr. Wallace. Can I get a second? Thank you, Ms. Freeborn. All in favor? And motion passes. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Others.
We have an announcement by our district clerk, Ms. Bazahowski.
Good evening. If you need this translation services, please see Ms. Cass in the back of the corner behind the students. Thank you.
Muy buenas noches, les damos la bienvenida a la Junta Educativa del Distrito de Riverhead. Si necesitan traducción, por favor, se ubican en la parte de atrás para poderles ayudar. Gracias y bienvenidos.
Thank you. We have our student representative, Annabelle Dunn.
Hello. At Roanoke, the student government is working towards creating great things for their classmates and more to come soon. At Riley, they celebrated P.S. I Love You Day. The students in all grades wrote messages about promoting kindness and caring for their friends and family and posted them around the school. Riley students studied Romare Bearden, created a collage inspired by his artwork, and presented the artwork at the Black History celebration on February 13th. In addition, some Riley students joined the district-wide 4th grade chorus singing at the Black History celebration. The students at Riley will once again be participating in the Kids Heart Challenge. The students kicked off the Kids Heart Challenge on March 3rd. During gym classes throughout the week, the Circus Project will be at Riley. They begin the week with an assembly with the artists performing a presentation of circus skills and a comedy variety show. Throughout the week, students will attend skills workshops with the Circus Project artists and learn some of their circus skills. This week begins the performances of Beauty and the Beast by Riley 4th grade theater club. The first evening show will be presented to the 4th grade students, parents this Thursday, March 6th. All the students in the school had an opportunity to get a sneak preview of the show. Throughout March, the Riley students are participating in First in Math. First in Math provides math practice that leverages students' love of game-style activities, providing immediate feedback, building math skills, and creating high levels of engagement. At Phillips, on Friday, February 14th, Phillips Avenue participated in P.S. I Love You Day. Students and staff wore purple, and the theme this year was A Brighter Tomorrow Begins Today. And one of their 3rd grade classes baked cookies for Riverhead and Southampton police to foster community. At Aquabog, last month Aquabog students participated in a Great Kindness Challenge and grade level coin challenge. And they're proud to announce they raised a grand total of $850 for the North Fork Animal Welfare League. Last week, their 1st graders had a special visitor, a local bilingual puppeteer. Ms. Campos performed puppet shows and helped their students make their own sock puppets. At Pulaski, 2 outstanding 5th grade students organized a school-wide collection drive for the Salvation Army, supporting those affected by the recent devastating fires in Los Angeles. They participated in PS I Love You Week, featuring daily activities such as kindness grams, students writing positive chalk messages around Pulaski, a spirit week, and a visit from the New York Islanders. Students learned valuable lessons about making smart decisions, eating healthy, staying active, and treating each other with compassion. Fifth grade students participated in an informative dental assembly. Middle school students visited to discuss world languages and music options. And district stakeholders nominated students who exhibited Pulaski pride, and families were invited to attend this special celebration. At the middle school for March, student government will be conducting a school climate survey. They will be sharing a summary of student response data later this year, and student government is also sponsoring a video contest for students to impersonate their favorite teacher. RMS News is working on an anti-vaping video series with CAP through the end of the school year. These videos will be shown to RMS students during homeroom periods. RMS News is also working with Assistant Principal Phil Cabrera and the Attendance Committee to produce a monthly video series challenge to improve students' attendance rate. And at the high school, while the boys' basketball season did come to an end, they had an incredible season and made it so far. The top 20 for the class of 2025 was announced last Friday, so congrats to everyone. Black History Month celebration at the high school is a huge success. There will be a pickleball tournament tomorrow afternoon hosted by Camden Wallace and the R2X Pickleball Tournament, where teachers partner up with students to play. The money raised is going towards the Benjamin Patrick Wallace Memorial Fund. On Friday, there will be a battle of the classes where each class will verse each other in different activities. And the class of 2025 is currently hosting a fundraiser where all the proceeds will go to the Waves of Opportunity Scholarship that will be given to graduating seniors this year. If you would like to help, please let me know and I will send you the QR code. The fundraiser opens this Friday.
Thank you, Annabelle. Moving on to Superintendent Report, Ms. Petisich.
Thank you, Annabelle, for so beautifully highlighting all of the wonderful activities and endeavors that our schools are involved in. And on April 29th, we will be honoring the top 20 students in the school. I do want to say that Annabelle is one of them, so we'll be happy to, yes. We have a very full agenda this evening, and one of our favorite times is to honor our students. And so it is with great pleasure that I introduce our Director of Fine Arts, Jason Rotkamp.
Hello, everybody. Nice to see everyone this evening. So tonight, we are proud to recognize and honor all of our students that participated in the Hamia Middle School Festival. Hamia, there's all these words that go along with music. Hamia, Lisfos, Hamia, and Escape, you know, everything. But Hamia is the Hampton Music Educators Association. The mission of of this organization is really to allow the students on the East End to be able to collaborate with other students from across other districts, an opportunity they don't have during the regular school day. The festival encompasses areas from Santa Mauritius all the way out east to about Montauk and Oyster Pond. So it's a pretty large pool of schools that participate. So in order for these students to be eligible, they do have to perform an ISMA solo, they have to get a fairly high rating, and they also have to get a recommendation from their teacher. So it's an extensive vetting process, and the end result that you hear is really incredible. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention that, you know, because of this, with the support of our community, our Board of Education, our incredible teachers, the students here tonight have been fortunate enough to have this great experience, so thank you for that. So what I'd like to do is recognize all of our students that did participate. There are a number of students that were unable to attend tonight, but I would like to recognize them and call their names as well. So once you guys hear your names, you're going to come on up, all right? So starting off, Chloe Bear was in band, couldn't be here this evening. Nolan Bruin, band. Taryn Burns, orchestra. Olivia Kane, chorus. Mason Cowie, band. Tanya Cami, orchestra. Juliana Catalelli, band. Jimmy Troy Bach was an orchestra but could not be here this evening. Natalie Clare, middle school orchestra, also could not be here this evening. Julio Cosmo Gonzalez Matz, also orchestra, could not be here this evening. Jackson Foss, band. George Francois Gonzalez Matz. Elisa Fuentes Membrano, orchestra. Eden Greenwood, chorus. Also could not be here this evening, Nicholas Hernandez, orchestra. Julia Cazzo, orchestra. Not able to join us tonight, Nakira Mahoney and Janaya Martin, orchestra and chorus, respectively. Sophia Masakiza, band. Also unable to join us tonight was Sierra McDonald, was also an orchestra. Next we have Jayla Miller, chorus. Leanna Mora, band. Giovanni Musi, orchestra, also could not be here this evening. Jillian Noel, orchestra. Carly Noel, orchestra. Jonathan Rangeli, band. Peter Sargent, band. Luke Scherer, band. Reagan Schul, orchestra. Daniel Shelzy, band. And I'd also like to acknowledge the following students who also could not be here this evening. Naomi Sikaju Lopez was band, Olivia Skapski, orchestra, Shane Wallace, band, and Rachel Zhang, orchestra, our 2025 Hamia Middle School ensembles.
We're going to take a picture.
Yep.
So if any of the parents would like to. Our students get up very early, so we will not be insulted if you decide to leave, but you're welcome to stay. Congratulations to all of you. We are incredibly proud.
So to begin our presentations this evening, I'd like to take an opportunity to introduce our interim assistant superintendent for curriculum and instruction, Dr. Alan Baum.
All right, good evening. It's my pleasure today to introduce today's presentation on the District Comprehensive Improvement Plan, otherwise known as DSIP, for the 24-25 school year. This presentation will provide a very brief overview of our district strategies for improving student achievement, reducing chronic absenteeism, and ensuring alignment with the New York State Education Department standards for our targeted schools. Leading this presentation is Dr. Gretchen Rodney, Executive Director for Elementary Education. She will help guide us through this brief presentation's key priorities and next steps for our district's continuous improvement.
Good afternoon. I'm going to do my best to keep this as concise as possible. Thank you so much for your time and attention. I am going to review what a district comprehensive improvement plan is. This is based on the 23-24 testing material, our results. So what is a district improvement? So in New York State, the district can fall into two categories. You could be a district in good standing or a target district. Any district that has a school that falls within any of these three categories, being a target support school, an additional target support school, or a comprehensive support school, any district has a school that falls into any of those categories is a target district. Our district has a school that falls into one of each of those categories, a targeted support, additional targeted support, and comprehensive support. So what does that mean for us? So if we have a school who has been identified as needing additional support, New York State is committed to assisting with a needs assessment, creating action plans, training if necessary, to make sure that we're able to provide all of our students with what they need to be successful. They take that information that is the local stakeholders as teachers and parents and students come together to create what we call a school comprehensive education plan, or CSEP. The district also creates a plan, the district comprehensive improvement plan. So our three schools that we focused on for this presentation include Phillips Avenue, Roanoke Avenue, and Riverhead Middle Schools. In addition to assisting us to create a plan, there is money attached to those plans to help make sure that we have the capacity to provide our students with what they need to be successful. And the funding that we received this year as a SIG Title I includes $525,000 that were divvied up in these increments. $50,000 for the district level, $75,000 for Phillips, $250,000 in Roanoke, and $150,000 for the middle school. So part of the plans that the schools created, they, when working with their stakeholders, created priorities. What are the areas they wanted to focus on to improve performance? Phillips came up with two priorities. Their first priority was to focus on literacy skills through their professional learning community. The way they're doing that is through their literacy blocks, school-wide literacy activities, parent workshops, and celebrating literacy. Their second priority is to decrease chronic absenteeism. Chronic absenteeism is any student who has missed 10% or more of school days, that's 18 school days or more. And to do that, to combat chronic absenteeism, Phillips Avenue is developing, they developed an attendance committee. They recognize good attendance of those students who are coming to school regularly, and created some fun challenges to encourage students to come to school. When we're looking at Roanoke, their first priority also was around attendance. So they are looking at reducing absenteeism also, and they are looking to have those conversations with all their stakeholders through their MTSS attendance discussions, develop strategies around helping students to be at school more consistently, and family outreach. Their second priority is the vertical and horizontal alignment of their instruction to make sure that they are all speaking the same language and moving students in a positive direction. They're doing this through their professional learning communities. And for our middle school, the middle school is focusing on social and emotional learning. If any of you have had any middle schoolers, we know that is a very important time in a young person's life. And they are using different strategic celebrations, bringing in assemblies for anti-bullying, tolerance, and empathy to encourage the students to take care of themselves and one another, and to strengthen their PBIS program, their positive behavior intervention systems. The second priority for our middle school is overall academic achievement. And they're doing that through, again, focusing on attendance. We see a trend here, focusing on those articulations between grade levels and after-school academic support. So as a district, we are also supporting our schools by making sure that we address those things that the schools have identified as being important to them. And if you remember, in each school, they said attendance was important. So on a district level, we're also focusing on attendance and increasing student achievement. One of the ways that we're doing that is through our community-based diversity, equity, and inclusion committees. There are several subcommittees that work on different aspects of a student's day to make sure that they are having the supports they need to be successful and feel welcomed and affirmed in our schools. Our second priority is to create a scope and sequence so that our teachers across grade levels, across our buildings, and can speak to one another across grade levels and between grade levels. So we're working with specifically our elementary school teams, and we're bringing on our middle school teams. And our third priority is to make sure that our students are prepared socially and academically for the challenges ahead. That is working with our MTSS plan, provide a professional development where necessary. We also have partnered with the Butterfly Effect. We have some Regents review classes for our students, and we're looking at our climate surveys. So what are our next steps? We have submitted our plan to the state, and we are awaiting that final approval. And stakeholders do meet incrementally just to kind of check in and see how we're doing. Are the things that we're putting in place being effective in helping our students? Are there any questions for the board? All right, thank you so much.
You know, just a quick comment on the presentation or the SIG grant. It does seem like a long time for the state to act on our application. It was March 20th, 2024 that the state approved the 23-24 school district plan and grant application. So we're hoping that sometime in the next couple of weeks, we will get approval for this particular one. Today, we are also briefly presenting to you our district's report card presentation. Together with my colleagues, Dr. Rodney and Dr. Hernandez, we will review some data points that provide insight into our district's performance, including enrollment trends, demographic shifts, attendance patterns, and student achievement. Assessment results provide valuable insights into academic performance, but they do not represent or present a complete picture of student success. A single test or even a series of assessments cannot fully capture a student's growth, potential, or the diverse talents they bring to our schools. These results do not measure students' engagement in athletics, the arts, or co-curricular programs, areas that foster leadership, teamwork, creativity, and personal development. Furthermore, standardized assessments do not reflect the wide variety of courses and programs that contribute to the rich educational experience we provide, nor do they fully represent the cultural diversity and unique strengths of our students and district. They also fail to account for the challenges many of our students face, including economic hardships, language barriers for non-native English speakers, and the cultural adjustments that new immigrants experience in a public school setting. These factors can impact a student's ability to perform on assessments, yet they do not define their abilities, intelligence, or potential for future success. In addition to the challenges faced by our students, our district is also grappling with increasing financial pressures. Rising state and federal mandates, coupled with highly strained budgets and inadequate funding, create significant obstacles in providing the resources our students and educators need. Additionally, overcrowded school buildings present further challenges, limiting available physical space and straining our ability to maintain an optimal learning environment. True success is measured by a student's ability to think creatively, to think critically, collaborate, and contribute meaningfully to their community, qualities that extend far beyond a test score or a series of tests or assessments. As a district, we are committed to supporting every student by providing opportunities that nurture their strengths, celebrate their diversity, and equip them with the skills they need to thrive in an ever-changing world. However, to truly meet these needs, it is essential that we advocate for the resources and support necessary to overcome these growing challenges. So let's get into our report card. If you look at our 10-year student enrollment trend, we are approximately where we were in 2017, with approximately 5,416 students taken as of Beds Day of this current school year. If you look at our trends by grade level, from the elementary school line, the top line, we're up 34 students from last year. We're down in the elementary. We're down 54 students at the high school, and we were just about flat, down just 2 students at the middle school. That's a 10-year trend. If we look at the demographic trend here, the top line represents the economically disadvantaged, and we've been fairly flat, at least since about 2017. And I'm drawing your attention to the red line, the lower line. Those are the students with disabilities, again flat. But what is interesting here is that we see an increase in the percent of English language learners for our students in an upward trajectory over the last 10 years, since 2014. These are the countries that of students representing the word cloud is the majority of the countries that are not from the United States. We have students from 39 different countries other than the United States, 1460 students. These are the languages represented. Our students speak 25 languages, and that's 3880 students out of our student population. Now, if we look at our attendance, and you heard a little bit about the attendance in the previous presentation, our chronic absenteeism over a 5-year trend is represented by those bar graphs. We have, ironically, between the elementary, middle, and high school, we are at 26% chronic absenteeism. What does that mean? That means that if a student misses 10% or more days that they are enrolled, they are considered to be chronically absent. So if you just look at by example, the elementary and middle schools, there are 3288 students. Of those students, 862 were categorized as chronically absent, which yields a 26% chronic absenteeism rate. The same number holds true for the high school last year. If we look at the 3-year chronic absenteeism comparison, of the students who are not chronically absent, the median number of days that they are absent is 8 days, compared to those students that have been categorized as chronically absent, it is 23 days at the elementary and middle school. And again, ironically or coincidentally, at the high school, it is the same number, 8 versus 23 days being chronically absent. Now, while we don't have the numbers for this year thus far, there are indications that our chronic absenteeism rate has declined in this current school year. And we hope in the next couple of weeks to get more data to demonstrate that, that progress. And now to discuss the 3 to 8 achievement, my colleague,
So, thank you so much, Dr. Baum. When we were talking about all those different variables that make a well-rounded student, some of the ways that New York State is measuring our students' achievement include our ELA assessment, our math assessment, our science assessments. So when we look at how many students actually took the assessments, in the 23-24 school year, we see 71% of our students set for the ELA and the math assessment, and 68% set for the science assessment. That would be 5th and 8th grades. Now, when we look across grade levels and we break it out a little bit differently, we see that they're pretty consistent in the 70s, even the high 70s, 3rd through 6th grades. There's a little bit of a dip in 7th and 8th grades as far as that participation rate. However, when we look at our Riverhead students' participation rate in comparison to the rest of Suffolk County, our students participate at a much more rigorous rate than the students across Suffolk County. So that is something that we know that our students are willing to show up and demonstrate what they know. After the students have taken the assessment, their scores are divided into 4 levels, with level 3 being proficient, that is meeting grade level expectations, level 4 exceeding those grade level expectations, level 2 is partially proficient, now you're approaching grade level expectation, and a level 1 is well below what we were expecting for a particular grade level. When we look at our ELA results for the 23-24 school year, we'll see for ELA across all grade levels, approximately 25% of our students met or exceeded the grade level expectation, with another little more than 25% partially meeting those expectations. So that is our 3rd through our 8th graders. In our math performance, we have a little more variety. We'll see that our 3rd and our 7th graders really performed relatively well compared to some of the other grade levels here on the math assessment. We do also want to note that the 7th and 8th grade math scores also include Regents results. Last year was the first year for our 5th graders to take the updated science assessment, and around 19% of them met those grade level expectations there. We will continue to work with those students to become comfortable with that format. With our 8th graders, we had about half of them, 50%, who met or exceeded grade level expectations for science. And we can see here how our students compare to the rest of Suffolk County. Riverhead is in blue, and this is for ELA, math, and science. And I'm going to turn this over to Dr. Hernandez for our secondary achievement report.
Thank you so much. So When Alan presents the district, and when we think about how your data tells a story and only you can tell your story the best, what I hope to bring out in this presentation is that New York State can't capture our story as well as we can. And I'm going to show you. So the first thing we're going to talk about is New York State's definition of regions passing and mastery. So what you'll see here is this is a comparison of students who take the regents in a given year, and we compared them to Suffolk County. So we can see that over the years, what New York State is showing us is that our regents data for English Common Core is somewhat dipping, right, compared to the rest of Suffolk County, but Suffolk County is also dipping, so the English regents is got a common trend both in the county and in our school district. You'll see this similar trend in our math exams here, and in our science exams as well. You actually can note that some of our chemistry regents here is doing pretty well. Even this past year, you know, we're pretty competitive with the county there for our chemistry results. And then the same can be said about social studies regents. But I didn't think that was a fair representation of what our students can do. So what I also looked at was, I looked at the max regents pass rates by groups of students so we can really drill down and see, what does this data mean? So when you get into max results here, our students, maybe they don't make it on the first shot, but our students will show over time their resilience to pass these exams. We don't give students just one single opportunity, and we don't expect them to do their best just once. We give them as many opportunities as it takes to show how great they are. So in this next section, we're going to look at our English results. And instead of comparing us to Suffolk County, we just want to see how different demographics of students are performing their best in a given year. So when we look over the years, Alan has shown us that our district is growing with ELL students, and our district is growing in how we're reaching ELL students over time. Over time, you're going to see growth in that English language regents. Over time, I mean, our general education students are doing very well, which is a great expectation, but you'll notice even our students with disabilities are rising to the occasion. As we continue through these exams, you'll notice some of those trends actually shift. Students with disabilities are outperforming general education students in geometry here. Living environment, in our science regents exams, you're going to see growth. When we really tell our story and we look at how our students are doing, we really see a story of resilience here. We really see a story that Riverhead, going through this massive shift, that you're going to see resilience and perseverance through exams that might not be the easiest for someone who's learning a language for the first time. There are some great shout outs with the AP exams. There's so many AP courses, but I'm not going to go through. I'm going to give you an overview and some celebrations. We had a 95% participation, so that means that 95% of students who sat in an AP course took the exam, and 60% of those students received a score equal to or greater than 3, which is basically 3 out of 5 students. That's fantastic. That visibly shows me majority of our students show up, they take these exams, and majority of them do quite well. The distribution of students throughout the different courses, there are 18 courses, but what's really fascinating about our community is, of those 18 courses, the population distribution is 50-50 between STEM and humanities AP courses. That's really interesting to think that our students don't have a proclivity to go towards STEM or humanities, that they really like them both. So that's important to note here, especially when we are doing pretty well in our AP program. So I want to look at, we gave 2 new AP courses, and I want to show this chemistry course here. I don't know about you, but chemistry AP, that sounds really intimidating, but not for Riverhead students over time, right? Over time, we've gotten better and better with our AP results in chemistry, and I think that that's really worth noting here. It's a great shout out. Not an easy class or an easy program to maintain, but even the enrollment, participation, everything is going really well for this program. So I wanted to note that. And we had 2 new courses, AP Seminar, as well as, physics is crushing it with the AP Physics program. But here, these are 2 new courses, AP Pre-Calculus and AP Seminar. Worth noting, they were brand new this year, and they had a great turnout. Probably something we want to continue doing, right? So this is our mean SAT score. We outscored New York State in both the mean SAT score for math as well as reading and writing. When it comes to the ACT, we are below the state composite average there. Graduation rates, the penultimate celebration of why we go to school in the first place, right? From K to 12. This is what we want to see. So over the years, what we did here is we looked at the highest opportunity. Remember, our story is a story of resilience. Our story is a story that our students don't give up. We need to expose them over time to reach that success. So what I did here is I have each cohort lined up here, and I took their best snapshot. Because again, we tell our story best. And over the years, we can see that we might start at a certain value with our graduation rates, but we climb little by little each year. The same is said about this cohort. So this the graduation rate, this is a Riverhead Central School District, not just the high school, but the whole school district. This is the distribution. But what's really exciting to note is that the percentage of students still enrolled, these are those students that are going to push that overall number. We have, if you see here, tremendous success. We average about 10 to 9%, and we increase about 2 to 3 percentage points every year with those students. So again, our story over time says that we can reach those students just a little bit more time. And this is the life after Riverhead. 28.7% go to a 4-year college, 58% go to a 2-year college, and 13% join the workforce. That's fantastic that majority of our students are enrolled into higher education, and that the other 13 is join the workforce. I don't see any undecided here. So that's a great thing. So I thank you so much for your time. We thank you for getting the opportunity here to present to you our story.
Does the board have any questions for any of our presenters? No? Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Baum, Dr. Hernandez, Dr. Rodney. We appreciate the presentation.
Thank you.
It is now my pleasure to introduce our interim Assistant Superintendent for Business, Dr. Marianne Cardesano, who will give us a presentation on the budget.
Thank you, and welcome to the first of 3 planned budget discussions. Thank you to the Board of Education for your continued opportunity to support your school community and to manage the financial operations of your school district. I just want to begin with a brief conversation on what our calendar will be this year for the budget development process. Tonight I'll give you a quick overview, a summary on our audit update, a review of our revenue plan, and an overview of our extended expenditure plan. Our second meeting will be March 18th. We will discuss expenditures. April 19th, we will adopt the budget and the property tax report card. Our budget hearing is scheduled for May 6th, and the budget vote is on the uniform budget vote date for New York State is May 20th. I just want to repeat, and I will say this every time that we meet, is that our budget vote will be at Riverhead High School this year, and that we are consolidating, the board has approved to one location for the budget vote for safety and security reasons as well as efficiencies. So just a quick update on the status of our audits. In fiscal year June of 24, the financial audit was completed and filed on time. The federal single audit, which is the annual audit on our grants, was completed and filed on time. We went through a Moody's financial review, which has been completed, and we have maintained our AA2 bond rating, which is great news for us, especially in this economy. With reference to the controller audit, this was our turn. We are on the cycle to receive this audit. We have completed the field work and the report is pending. And last is the Education Stabilization Fund reporting, which is another audit on our grants. We have completed the first part of that, and that's been filed on time. With reference to our upcoming budget, we learned and we spoke about last year that we need to start with our revenues. How much money do we have to spend before we start our expenditure plan? So the direction from the Board of Education was to develop a budget that was within the constraints of the property tax cap. We know the tax cap has been in existence since 2012-13. Exceeding the tax cap requires a 60% voter approval, which is the supermajority. That's commonly known as trying to pierce the cap. The board's direction is that we would not move in that direction, and we would develop an expenditure plan that matched the revenues. This year, our tax cap based on the calculation will be 2.16%. So just to give you some comparison, that's with reference to this current year, it's 3.34%. So the ability to raise our taxes will be reduced by a full percent. So the residents of the district will see a reduction in any increase next year from our current year. We have to file that tax cap calculation and information with the Comptroller's Office by February 28th, and that has been completed. So let's start at the beginning. How much cash are we going to have? And we need to know how much cash we're going to have before we start writing checks. So we compare here the 24-25 voter-approved budget to what is proposed for next year. And you will see that our proposed budget is $211 million. That represents a 9.9% increase, a $9.9 million increase rather, or 4.95%. We are expecting that we will be able to receive additional state aid in $4.9 million. And due to our increased costs in special education, we are also anticipating an additional $700,000 in state aid. You add to that our increase in pilot payments. Our pilot payments are on schedule to increase by $800,000 or 18%. And then you add all of our other revenues or where we get money from, okay? Then that means that totals up to $2 million. You'll see the bottom line number is $2.3 million, or the tax levy will increase by 2.16%. I do apologize that it seems like that right-hand column, due to an issue with the projector, is not visible, but I will show you in a few minutes that all of this information is posted on our webpage that went live tonight, so you'll be able to refer to that as we move through the budget development process. So where does that land us? Based on our revenue budget, we now know what our expenditure budget can be. So, in the superintendent's proposed budget of $211 million with a $9.9 million increase, or 4.95%, and that is within the 2.16% property tax cap limit. New York State budgets for public schools are divided into 5 main areas. They are general support, instruction, transportation, community service, and undistributed. So where does that $9.9 million increase fall, in which categories? In the area of general support, $400,000. In the area of instruction, $7.7 million out of the 9.9 is instruction. Transportation is increased by $635,000. Community service is flat. And undistributed is nearly $1.2 million. And I'll talk about in a minute, undistributed are the employee benefits that go along with the instructional program and our staff and staffing programs here at the school district. So when you add the 7.7 for instruction and the $1.2 million in benefits, you can see that that captures just about the entire 90% of the $9.9 million. So I'm going to take a quick look at each of those areas. In the area of general support, we are proposing there'll be a decrease in the Board of Education code by $16,000, an increase in the Chief School Administrator code of about $26,000, a decrease in the Business Administration code of $416,000, and that's a result of the restructuring that we did this year. Personnel and legal has an increase of $44,000. Our operations, security, and central administration's budget is going up about $576,000, and that's everything increasing to run our buildings from salaries to fuel costs. And our property insurance and BOCES costs is increasing by about $194,000. But when you add up all of that for the support areas of our buildings, it's about a 2% increase. When you look at our instructional programs, as I said before, that's an increase of $7.7 million. So when you look at curriculum development and supervision, that's about $356,000. But add the next two numbers. Regular school is increasing by nearly $2.8 million, and programs for children with disabilities is increasing by $3.3 million. So out of $7.7 million between gen ed programs and students with disabilities, about $6 million of that 7.7 will be allocated in that area. Our English language learners budget is going up about $400,000. Our OC Ed budget about almost $600,000. And then there's this area of called special schools. And there's two main areas of special schools for me to highlight. The first one is we're going to develop some line of summer school program. We're not exactly sure what that's going to look like yet, because for the past several years, your summer school programs were funded by grants, and those grants are no longer available. So we're going to look at that, and there was a slight increase, and we're looking at the jail education program, because the district is responsible for educating those inmates that are at the Riverhead jail, and that costs us some money. So that's about a $400,000 increase. You add up everything else that's in the instructional program, and that's actually a decrease of $263,000, which are various codes within the budget. So $7.7 million, or an increase of 6.5%. When we look at transportation, there's an increase of 6.5% of $635,000, of which almost 100% is going to our district transportation. Those are the buses that we own and the transportation services that we provide through our employees and our district-owned buses. So that's an increase of about 6.5%. In the area of undistributed, there's three parts. The first part is employee benefits, which is about $1.5 million increase. Debt service will decrease by $300,000, and interfund transfers will stay flat. So you can see the employee benefits coupled with instruction are the majority of this proposed budget increase. I'm just going to take a quick look at employee benefits, because that's a huge number of $1.5 million. When you look at ERS, that's the Employees Retirement System. That is the pension fund for our support staff. That's an increase of over $400,000, or 14%. That's that double digit is because there's a double hit for us in ERS. We have the rate that increased and our salaries increased. So that's a problem for us to the tune of $400,000. For TRS, although our salaries increased, the rate decreased. So that's why that increase is only 6%. Then we have an increase for our health insurance, which we are I have to tell you, we're very happy about. I never said that about health insurance in 32 years, and that's because for the calendar year of 25, our health insurance only went up by about 3%. The district, and every school district and municipality in New York State that has NYSHIP has seen double-digit increases for the past several years, and that's been a really big budget buster for us. So the fact that insurance is only going up by 1.3%, we are very happy about for at least the calendar year of 25. So that circles us all the way back to where we started, which is coming up with a budget where our proposed revenues equal our proposed expenditures. And the main items on this page, that is the budget going up 4.95%. We expect state aid to be over 6%, and we will be within the property tax cap of 2.16%. Some important dates to share with the community is packets are available to run for the Board of Education. Seat available tomorrow, March 5th. And the deadline to submit is April 21st. Our budget hearing is scheduled for May 6th at Riverhead High School. And the annual budget vote and trustee election is May 20th. Those dates for voting at the district are from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Please note again, Riverhead High School is the one location this year, consolidated from the 4 elementary schools. And Eric, can you just go to the district website for me for a second? Appreciate that. So if you were part of this journey with me last year, we developed a web page that had all of the information on here that Eric's going to attempt to pull up, where everything that I've spoken about tonight, the presentation and the backup data for this is all available. And if you go to the district webpage, go to Board of Education, the top link should be 25, 26 budget documents. And if you click there for us, Eric, okay. We built this page, and you'll see here on the right-hand side where it says proposed budget. If you could scroll down for me, Eric, please. All right, so the information is there. Tonight's presentation was posted a little while ago, so it's available there for you to take a look at. There's also information there regarding the superintendent's budget, the actual document of, I believe it's 26 pages from an Excel spreadsheet, about 4,000 lines. So if you have nothing to do and you want to scroll 4,000 lines, feel free. It's in a very easy format if you want to take a look at that, if you have a question. And then there's some other relative analysis there that you can look at. We took a different bird's eye view from different areas of the budget to do some comparison. If you go down a little bit further, Eric, there's some information there having to do with the revenue budget. Also, there's a breakdown on state aid, the governor's proposed budget. We conducted an analysis on that by category, so you can see the state aid where it's increasing and decreasing, as well as some other information there. If I do not have the analysis developed yet, because we're not that far in the budget process, it says that will be posted at a certain time, or will be updated along with the analysis, as well as future presentations. And we'll take a look at posting the New York State report cards that are available to the community from the state. So that website is available. That will continue to grow and be organic as we go through the process through March, April, and May. Thank you, Eric. So does the board have any questions? I know you received your budget documents last week. Do you have any questions on the information that you've been provided so far, or on the information presented tonight?
Working.
Yeah,
It's working.
It's working.
Just for clarification, when it comes to teaching regular school, that includes just all of our buildings as well as charter school. Is that what that line, that increase? So that's all included in that line.
Regular school are gen ed programs, which is the 2110 series, including tuition. So that would include tuition for gen ed students at other either private and parochial schools or the charter school, yes.
Okay.
Any increases in tuition for CSE placements or in teaching programs with students with disabilities. But that's where your two tuitions would be in one of those two codes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We're good? Okay. At this time, are there any questions from the community thus far? Right now, most of our grants are title grants, and we are not anticipating in the title grants, because those are directly connected, for the most part, either based on special needs for our special education students, or as well for our E&L students.
You just have to step up to the podium.
I apologize.
Yes, and tell us where you...
I'm Teresa Mason, and one of my sons is a special ed student. So obviously I have significant concerns should the Federal Department of Education be abolished and the monies associated with it be abolished. And this is particularly important to me because my son cannot go to school without an aid. It's just not physically possible. He'll wander away. So obviously that is a major concern for us, and we wanted to know, you know, how you're going to pad the budget one way or the other to account for potential losses there.
Well, I don't like the word pad the budget.
I did-
So let me go on record by saying, okay.
That's not what I meant, but you.
I know what you meant.
To account for potential losses.
Thank you, much better, thank you. Because we are on video, and that will get certainly a cloud above my head that said Cardisano said we're gonna pad the budget. So I appreciate that. So let me answer the best way that I can at this particular moment. If your child has an IEP from based on the Committee from Special Education, we need to honor that. So I don't anticipate any reductions in special education services K-12. Mrs. Pedicic?
Just so you know, the IDEA grant, which is the grant, the federal grant, that is only to supplement, not to supplant services.
Right.
So just for clarification purposes. So if the Committee on Special Education, as Dr. Cardisano speaks, has spoken about, if they decide by consensus that a student is going to get certain services, those services need to be delivered to the student. So the grant is there really for supplemental purposes.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll see you again in 2 weeks.
Thank you, Dr. Cardisano. Moving on, do we have any public comments on agenda items? So this is just public comments just on what's on the agenda. Do we have any online comments? No? Can I get a motion to accept the consent agenda? Thank you, Ms. Murphy. Can I get a second? Second. Thank you, Ms. Freeborn. Any questions or comments? All in favor? And the motion passes. Moving on to new business. Letter A is the first reading of a revised board policy. This is 5605, student voter registration and pre-registration. Can I get a motion to accept the first reading? Thank you, Mr. Wallace. A second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Redmond. Any questions or comments? All in favor? And the motion passes. Letter B, this is call for a special district meeting on May 20th, 2025, and this is for the Riverhead Central School District and the Board of Education annual budget vote and election of school board members. It'll be held on May 20th, 2025, between the hours of 6 a.m. and 9 p.m. at the Riverhead High School, 700 Harrison Avenue. So as Dr. Cardisano said, and we've said numerous times, this year you won't be going to your neighborhood elementary school. It will be at one location, the Riverhead High School. A budget hearing will be on May 6th in the Riverhead Middle School in the cafetorium right here at 7 p.m. And voter registration for qualified voters of the district will take place at the office of the district clerk, 814 Harrison Avenue, between the hours of 8:15 a.m. and 4 p.m., Monday through Friday, up to and including May 13, 2025. Can I get a motion to accept? Thank you, Ms. Healy. Can I get a second? Second. Thank you, Ms. Murphy. Any questions, comments? All in favor? And the motion passes. Letter C, this is for a nomination for candidate for the position on the Eastern Suffolk BOCES Board. We are nominating William Sheng. He will be, there's one of 5 seats that are expiring on June 30th this year, and we are going to nominate Mr. Sheng. Can I have a motion to accept? Thank you, Ms. Murphy. A second? Thank you, Ms. Healy. Questions, comments? All in favor? And the motion passes. Letter D, this is a MOA with an RCFA member. This is a resolution to just concerning the use of that person's sick time. Can I get a motion to accept?
Motion.
Thank you, Ms. Redmond. Can I get a second? Thank you, Mr. Wallace. Questions, comments? All in favor? And the motion passes. And letter E, this is a MOA with the RCFA. This is to to be approved for a retirement incentive for the RCFA. Can I get a motion to accept? Thank you, Ms. Murphy. Can I get a second? Thank you, Mr. Wallace. Questions, comments? All in favor? And the motion passes. Letter F, this is a approval for a contract with Riverhead CAP. That Riverhead CAP will be doing screening, brief intervention, and referral treatment, education and training for our Riverhead High School social workers in partnership with Northwell Health for the 24-25 school year, beginning February 12th to the end of the school year. Can I get a motion to accept? Thank you, Ms. Murphy. A second? Second. Thank you, Ms. Freeborn. Questions, comments? All in favor? And motion passes.
As I am employed by Riverhead CAP, I will abstain.
And one abstention, thank you. Letter G, this is a pilot agreement with LIPA. Can I get a motion to accept? Motion. Thank you, Ms. Freeborn. Can I get a second? Second. Thank you, Ms. Healy. Questions, comments? All in favor? And the motion passes. Letter H, this is approval of an intermunicipal agreement. This is with Southampton School District and the West Hampton School District with us, Riverhead School District, for student and chaperone transportation to the Key Club Conference in Albany from March 28th of this year through March 30th of this year. Can I get a motion to accept? Thank you, Ms. Murphy. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Redmond. Questions, comments? All in favor? And the motion passes. Letter I, this is an approval of a contract which for topsoil, sandstone, and other athletic field products. Can I get a motion? Thank you, Mr. Oh, there's two of them, that's right. Yes, sorry. Thank you. And the second one is for UPK services for Kitty Academy. Can I get a motion to accept? Thank you, Mr. Wallace. A second? Thank you, Ms. Freeborn. Questions, comments? All in favor? And the motion passes. Letter J, this is approval for renewal of contracts. This is for different school supplies, contracting with also piggybacking with Southampton. And the second one is also piggybacking with Southampton for science supplies and materials. Can I get a motion to accept? Thank you, Ms. Murphy. A second? Second. Thank you, Ms. Freeborn. Questions, comments? All in favor? And the motion passes. Letter K, this is approval of donations. We have a donation from Fresh Greens Long Island is donating 5 trays with 188 plugs of either basil, pad choy, don't know it, red kale, with a retail value of $3,133. I have to update my greens. A motion to accept the donation?
Motion.
Thank you, Ms. Redmond. Second. Thank you, Ms. Murphy. Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Thank you.
Yes, definitely, thank you. All in favor? And the motion passes. Letter L is approval of field trips. We have 4 field trips. One is for 3 students from the Hispanic Youth Leadership to go to the Puerto Rican Hispanic Youth Leadership Institute on Saturday, March 8th through Monday, March 10th at no cost to the district. The other one is for approximately 37 NJROTC students to attend the Passaic High School drill competition on Saturday, March 8th in Passaic, New Jersey, at an approximate cost to the district of $900. The third one is to have approximately 38 NJROTC students to attend Colts Neck High School drill competition on Saturday, March 15th in Colts Neck, New Jersey, at an approximate cost of the district of $990. And the fourth one is to approve 1 student from the varsity girls wrestling to compete in girls wrestling events for NYS PHSAA championships at MVP Arena in Albany from February 25th to February 27th, it happened already, at approximate cost of the district of $738. Can I get a motion to accept the field trips? Thank you, Ms. Murphy. A second? Second. Thank you, Ms. Freeborn. Questions, comments? Good luck, yes. All in favor? And the motion passes. And then do we have any committee reports?
This is a report from the policy committee meeting that happened on, she doesn't have the date here, Tuesday, February 11th. Committee members present were myself, Kelly Freeborn, Alan Baum, Cheryl Pedicic, and Dawn Bozahowski. It's late, I'm sorry. The Code of Conduct policy has been updated with several key changes. New provisions address cell phone storage, vaping, and discriminatory remarks, and include stronger measures for technology misuse, such as unauthorized use of AirPods and AI tools like ChatGPT. The policy now has a clear process for handling gang-related activities, modifies suspension periods, and introduces a new procedure for documenting student searches. Additionally, handheld metal detectors will be used for security, and protocols for confiscated cell phones have been clarified. The Code of Conduct will undergo an annual review and be approved each July. The student voter registration policy now requires high schools to distribute voter registration materials, ensure students can pre-register starting at age 16. The materials must be available twice a year. The district has decided to follow its policy for policy development, requiring only 2 readings before adoption. Regarding the weighting of Regents exams, a survey revealed that the districts who responded included Regent scores in the final grade with a range of 8.2% to 20% of the student's final grade. The committee discussed student grading. A minimum floor of 55 for quarter grades is being considered to help support student recovery, and guidelines are being discussed for issuing grades between 62 and 64 to ensure consistency and fairness. These proposed changes will be discussed with teachers union and building principals.
It's never working now. Can you just go back? You said it's, instead of 3 readings, it's just going to be 2 for?
Yes.
And what was the?
That's what the policy has been. We just weren't following it.
Which, our policy?
Yeah, our policy.
Only said 2 readings?
Yes, only said 2 readings. So we are in compliance.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Murphy. Do you have any other?
So we were overzealous with our reading.
Do we have any other committee? Nope. Okay. Any board member remarks?
I also want to say the Black History, I went to the Black History event with my kids, and we had an amazing time. What a gathering of people coming together, celebrating music, dance, achievements. The keynote speaker was the Sheriff Tolkien. Yeah, his story is inspiring, all the things he has overcome in his life. My children enjoyed the amazing food and the music afterwards. So I just want to thank Robert Hines for including me, and we look forward to next year.
I would like to acknowledge that March is Social Worker Appreciation Month, and we are so incredibly grateful to Riverhead Central School District for taking such a lead on expanding social work services and mental health services for our students. We always like to say that when prevention works, nothing happens. And the reality is that our social workers go above and beyond in prevention and intervention. Their services run the gamut from mandated services with counseling and reporting to making sure someone has a prom dress, making sure a family that's food insecure has access to resources. And I think our community, and I know our district, owes a debt of gratitude to our social workers and the mental health professionals that are employed both in district and through outside agencies. So if you see a social worker, say thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any comments from RCFA?
Good evening, Gregory Wallace, Riverhead Central Faculty Association. So I know the board is moving forward with the superintendent search, and the association has 2 requests as you prepare to select our next leader of the school. The First request is, could you please find someone that will answer the phone on the weekends? Because the last two superintendents refused to take phone calls on Saturdays and Sundays, and, you know, this is a busy district, I know. Cheryl answers the phone on Saturdays and Sundays, you know, so that I'm not singling you out, but the last two just didn't want to be disturbed on the weekends, and, you know, this is a busy district, they should be able to take a phone call on the weekend. If the board does decide to hire an applicant from outside the district, we feel that it's vitally important that at least one member of the district cabinet has institutional memory. We have to have at least one district office official that not only has a familiarity with our community, they also have established relationships with the stakeholders across our community, and that is vitally important. After months of fits and starts, it looks like we might actually have a literacy committee, so that's good. And finally, I would be remiss not to give a shameless plug to R2X Pickleball and the tournament that they are sponsoring tomorrow at the high school. The proceeds of the tournament will be going to the Benjamin Patrick Wallace Memorial Fund, and the Benjamin Patrick Wallace Memorial Fund each year gives out a scholarship to a deserving senior. And if you're on Instagram, please follow R2X Pickleball. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any comments from Ra?
Ra says they yield their time.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any public comments?
Sorry, Teresa Mason again. Recently, there was a change in the education law with respect to privacy for children, and I think we can all applaud that. However, my son has an IEP, and as part of that IEP in his behavioral plan, he had access to certain websites as behavioral rewards, and unfortunately, because of this law, it got changed and it got taken away, and it was very abrupt. There was no notification, and now we're dealing with behavioral anxiety issues. And so we have reached out to special ed, and we're working through that. But, you know, this was an interpretation by the IT department with respect to what could and could not be allowed, and it seemed very abrupt. And with children that have IEPs and have these tools to support them, it was too quick to transition them away from those tools. So, you know, we're really hoping that we could work on a transition period so we can get those tools back for a short period of time so we can transition them over to a long period of time. Because I can't imagine it's just my son that has these tools in his BIP, but, you know, it is something that is very difficult. And it's anxiety. He's waking up early in the morning because he doesn't have these tools to help him cope. So, you know, again, I applaud to try and protect for privacy reasons, but not having these tools that are outlined in his BIP and his IEP is really a struggle for us. And again, if it was a transition period saying, okay, you got X number of months to get him to the end of the school year or something of that, that would have been easier for us instead of like, hey, this is happening tomorrow.
Are you referring to a Google application?
Yes.
The state privacy officer made a determination that many of the applications available through Google were not EdLaw 2D compliant. And as such, we were no longer allowed to permit access to those applications through Google and in the district. So the decision was not a decision that we made, it was a decision made by the state of New York.
Okay. But, you know,
And it was rather abrupt.
yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate because, again, those are tools that some of our children who need extra supports.
We're not necessarily disagreeing with you, but if the state privacy officer says that it wasn't EdLaw 2D compliant, in other words, it did not protect the privacy of student data, then we all had an obligation to prohibit access to it until, if and when such time as it they do become EdLaw 2D compliant.
Okay, well, is there anything that we can do in the meantime to transition them away? Because this is, again, anxiety-inducing and is causing behavioral problems at home particularly.
I do believe our IT department has been working with building administration and teachers in coming up with alternative programs that might be suitable to replace some of those programs or applications that are no longer accessible.
Okay, great, thank you.
Hi, Kimberly Wilder, Osborne Avenue. I just wanted to ask about the superintendent search. I know that it's a very internal thing, and I wanted to know, could you or would you let the community know how many applicants there were, or are you allowed to tell us if there was more than one applicant? I think it might be interesting to know that.
There were 13 applicants.
Gregory Wallace, Calverton again. I just got a text message from my vice president that wanted me to deliver a message to Dr. Cardasano. Jen Simoes was in Albany today, lobbying for public education and for funding for Riverhead Central School District, and sat down with our elected officials, and they were shocked to find out that we had to pay to educate children in the jail. So she was lobbying to get more money from the state so they can, so yes, so she wanted me to let you guys know that.
Thank you. Do we have any other public comments? Do we have any online comments? No online comments? Okay. Seeing no more comments, I get a motion to adjourn the meeting. Thank you, Mr. Wallace. Can I get a second? Thank you, Ms. Murphy. All in favor? And motion passes.
How are you?
Please help support the Riverhead Central School District YouTube channel by subscribing. If you are not already subscribed to this channel, please be sure to push that subscribe button and click the bell to receive notifications. Thank you.